Hello everyone, welcome to today's episode. I haven't done a video for a couple days. I haven't really done much trading. I've been busy. I got stuff going on here at work. So I made a few trades today. Um, all in all, it was pretty good. Um, I traded. Let me take a look here. First of all, I started out, but Alibaba calls. Paid $1.49. I bought them at $9.46. Problem was I only bought one, and obviously sold it too soon. But I only bought one. I bought it at $9.46, which was right at the opening of this candle. I bought it because we had a double top here. It broke the double top, came up, and I had drawn these resistance lines. Actually, I don't know when I drew them. I don't think I drew these today, but they're still probably valid. A lot of these will still be here. You know, if it was a high from a daily chart from a week ago, it's probably still going to be there. But anyway, bought it right here. I sold it at 10:04 for $1.71, which would have been right at the end of this candle. And I sold it because we had two lines of resistance coming up here. Not only that, but we were getting pretty far away from the cloud here. And again, this is not the Ichimoku cloud. It's just a cloud. I'm using the 6 and 16 EMAs, and it's just a shading that goes between the EMAs. When the 6 is above the 16, it's green. When it's below the 16, it's red. So I'm generically calling it the cloud, but it's not the Ichimoku cloud. So I just want to make sure people don't get that confused. But it got pretty far away from the cloud, and anytime you start getting that far away from your standard, it's going to pull back. So because of these two resistance points here, and the fact that we were pretty far away, it was a big candle, we were pretty far away from the cloud, I decided to sell it. If I would have had 2, 3, 4 contracts, I probably would have sold. You know, if I had 2, I would have sold 1 and kept 1. If I would have had 10, I probably would have sold 5, and set my stop at break even. And it probably would have stopped me out there. Or maybe I would have sold 7, held 3. I don't know. It depends on your risk tolerance and what you're looking to get, how much you have in it, and whatnot. But this was my exit. Unfortunately, I didn't hold it longer because at one point I saw it was up to $4.45. Now, if you remember, I paid $1.49. Made it up to last I saw was $4.45. So I could have been up, just on one contract, I could have been up $300. Well, even now it had a big pullback. It still had a big pullback end of day, and it was still trading at 271 after the big pullback. So that should tell you something there. But so that was my Alibaba trade. My other one was CVS, which was another good trade. CVS, I got in at 10.13. I get in calls at 73 cents. CVS. $10.13 was just. This should be a 3-minute chart. All right, let's check this again. We'll go back and look at that BABA chart because I traded off the 3-minute chart. So 10.13 I got in. That would have been just after the beginning. Actually, just after the beginning of this candle. It's scary buying after a long candle like that, but it broke through it broke through this pivot point, but also if you look at the daily chart, we had pretty good double top resistance right here, right around the 57, 55, 57, 50s range. We had a double top here, and if you look beyond that double top, there wasn't really any resistance till we got up to here. So it had, well, you would have had resistance here from your moving average lines, but even here, you still had a $5 or $3 move before you hit that level. So I went ahead and jumped in it then, and it was, you know, be full disclaimer, I didn't find these trades. Another trader pointed them out, and it's trader that trades very similar to me, so I like to try to follow their lead, but I look at the charts and see if I like it before I get in. This one here I like because it was just about to break this pivot, and with all this momentum I was kind of figuring it would break that 57.50. It did break it, but just barely. So I figured it would come up to that 57.50, at least get to it, and my play was to play it at least to that level. So I sold the first contract at 10.21, then at 10.25, then at 10.39. So 10.21 was the beginning of this candle. I sold one right at the beginning of this candle, and I sold it back here. Keep forgetting these numbers. 10.25 and 10.39. 10.25 I sold another one just after this candle opened, and I believe I sold this one pretty close to this resistance line here. I sold one just close to this resistance line here, and then the other one I sold at 10.39. Basically was a break-even stop out. I thought it might come down here and bounce off of this pivot point, which it did a little bit, but I was at break even and I wasn't going to let that last bit go red on me, so I sold it. You see these, I did draw these lines today. This line here was because of this pre-market high, then a pre-market high here. But you see we came up, we just touched that one there, which was a pre-market high from over here. We didn't have a lot to go on to create lines on this chart, because if you look, you know, we gapped up here. We had a high here. Let me zoom in a little bit more. You know, we had this high here, and then you go back a little ways. You know, some of those lines, yeah, they were from the, I believe, the 5-minute chart. So we had one level right here, and then you go to the hourly chart. I don't think there was much on the hourly that I marked. Actually, there was this one here, which would have been the same whether it was 5-minute, hourly, wouldn't matter. It was still a high. I marked this high here. Oh, that was the other high that we had, that I had marked off. And we go to the 5-minute chart, and I had marked off, I think I made this line here, I made because of these highs right here, so that's why I put this line here. And this one I think I put over here. When it was over here, I marked this line. But either way, you see it held those lines right here, right at the line, right here, it just barely popped above it. So let's go back and look at that Bubba trade again now that I'm on the 3-minute chart. So in the Bubba chart, I got in, let me see that again, 946 to 1004. So 946 was still on a 5-minute. How's that happening? Alright, we got it fixed now. So 946, I got in just after the open of this candle. Actually, just after the open of this candle here. Shortly after this candle opened, I think it was right after it popped above this, I got in and rode it out until 10:04, which was just after the open of this candle, which I think it opened here, it popped up, and I sold, and then it pulled back. So I think it was a pretty good exit for what I knew at that time, because we don't know that this is going to happen. It could have pulled back here and pulled back the rest of the day. I sold because of this pivot point. We got pretty close to it. I'm not going to complain about it. The other trade I was in was Goldman Sachs, and that was from yesterday. I got in this trade yesterday. I'm not real sure what time it was that I got in. Let me take a look, see if I can find it. It wasn't in this account. I traded it in my other account. Pull it up and see if I can see what time it was that I bought it. And that was a trade also that was pointed out to me by another trader. Trying to do this mobile app, use a mobile app to find. Okay, so I bought it yesterday at 10:17 a.m. So I bought it right about at the end of this candle, right about the close of this candle. I bought this. I bought the May 17th calls, 210 calls. I paid $2.03. It pulled back. I think it was at like $1.70 something at one point. I could have added to it if I wanted to, but I didn't really get to that level, to that point. And then you see today, you see what it did. Popped pretty good at the open. I sold it at 9:47 this morning, which was shortly after this candle opened. We had a nice big pop here and then a doji candle. I only had one contract, so I sold it. I sold it for $2.83. I paid $2.03. So I made, I think it was 39% on this trade in basically 24 hours. And I sold it just almost a perfect time. You see it just went downhill the rest of the day from there and never got back to those levels. So yeah, this was a swing trade in my other account. The other account I pretty much use for swing trading, and I'm not very good at swing trading. I don't have the patience for it, but I followed another trader and it worked out. You see today we had a pivot point on Goldman Sachs, pivot point down here. I went right to that pivot, turned around and came right back up. Granted, it didn't get back to the highs here, but it did bounce right off the pivot. Let's take a look at SPY. I charted this out this morning before the market opened. And actually, none of my support resistance lines are even showing up. There's one way up here and one way down here. I don't think we got close to any of them. Well, we did get close to this one. It was, well, actually the reason that one was there was because of the pre-market high, I believe. So yeah, I had one right here and one right here that I put in this morning. You see, we came down right before close. We came down and touched that one, which was also, I believe, yesterday's low. There's a green line there, which I think indicates yesterday's low. But anyway, it came down to that line, and then you see after hours, it came down right to this support line that I drew. So this support line, let me see if I can figure out why I put that one there. I believe it was this one. This one was the high of this level here, this bar, which is why I put that one there. That's actually the 291.44. Is that the one that I'm looking at here? Yes, it is 291.44. So I put this one here because of the high from a previous day's candle right here. That's why the 291.44, because of this high. These are called pivots. These are pivot points. I'll show you when we get back to that. There are pivot points. Don't confuse pivot points with pivot highs and pivot lows. This is considered a pivot high because it came up, it hit a high, and it pulled back. Anytime you have a high like this or a low like this, it's a pivot high, pivot low. This would be a pivot low right here, this candle. So you have a pivot low. Basically, if it forms a V or an upside down V, that's considered a pivot. So we have a pivot low here. We have a pivot high here. This could be considered a pivot high. So you really should have a line right here. So they're different from pivot points. A lot of times they will line up, or sometimes they will line up, but they are different things. So I had this sit here because of a pivot high. And you see after hours we came down and touched that perfectly. Right there. The low of this candle was 291.45, 291.48 on this one. I have that line at 291.44, which is the high of that previous candle. So yeah, but it was a good day. I did take a lotto trade yesterday. So you see for the day my P&L wasn't very good. I took a lotto trade yesterday on Google because after that big huge pullback, I kind of thought we'd get a nice bounce. A lot of buyers would come in. So I bought some lotto calls. This Friday, May's 12.50 calls. I paid 40 cents a piece. I only bought 6 of them. Yeah, and they're at 12.5 right now. So it's not working out good. I actually have an standing order in right now. Well, it expired now. I had a standing order in to buy 4 more at 5 cents. I figured if I got them at 5 cents, that's another $20 I put in the trade, and my average would be 26 cents. You never know. At this point, they're only worth 70 bucks. Not that 70 bucks is nothing, but if I did a market sell, I'd only get 5 cents for them, so they're really only worth $30. I figured, hey, I'll buy 5 more, get my average down to 26, and because at this point I figure they're just going to expire worthless. But you know, if I can get my average down to 26, maybe even a little bit lower, who knows? We might get a big, huge overnight pop on it. This thing could go 50 points tomorrow, and yeah, I might be able to make a few bucks on it. Anyway, that's about it for today's video. I just figured I better get something out there because I haven't made a video since like last Thursday, so it's been about a week. I didn't do a lot of trading yesterday or Monday, and Friday I wasn't in most of the day, so kind of where it stands there. But anyway, let me know if you like what you see. And like I said, I've been following other people on these trades just because with my job, I haven't really had time to do my own searching and finding trades. But there's I don't want to name where I'm getting the trades from without their permission. But it's another uh, service that I joined, and see how their trading style is very similar to mine, so I kind of like that. I just started with them 2 weeks ago. I'm just sitting back in the corner right now, just listening to what they say, not really getting involved, so I don't want to step on anybody's toes and start naming, calling them out. And I'm sure they wouldn't mind it, because if anything, it might drive the business to them. But I don't want to do it without their okay. So that's kind of where it stands. But yeah, SPY. You look, it came down, bounced right off of yesterday's close. We had a bearish engulfing candle here, ready to pivot into 200 SMA or 100 SMA. That would have been a nice entry. We had it's a bull Harami, which I don't really like trading off the Harami candles, but that one would have worked, especially with you have two levels of support here with a bull Harami. So that would have been a nice trade. Got a bear Harami right here. Your confirmation was here, but there's quite a bit of support right in this area, so that would have been a little bit tougher one to take. So anyway, that's it for today. I'll try to make another one tomorrow, and thanks for watching, and see you later. Thanks.